the biggest Pikachu win of all time.
Pikachu is insanely broken.
Led or just very on point execution from ShinyMark in order to get that first stock, but the Pika Loop's coming in right now. And how much more can you take if you're Maister right here?
Playing Sonix 3 sets in a single tournament, I know how painful that can be, bro.
It's very rare for a character to have all the check boxes to like beat Pikachu, you know? And honestly, at this point, I think it's only possibly Game & Watch.
I mean, I'm gonna listen to you, not Isam, of course.
I've always known that I've been able to be like a top 20, top 10 player, honestly.
Do you still think Pikachu's the best character in the game, right?
That's low-key my hottest take. I tweeted that I think 2 months ago, where I said,
what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Go Talk show. This time around, we have a really special guest because last weekend, we had S Factor 11 in Mexico City. Of course, one of the best tournaments ever. You should attend next year. But this time around, it wasn't like a Mexican didn't win the tournament. You wouldn't guess who won the tournament. An amazing player that has been on the upcome. Of course, He's really well known. He's the best Pikachu in the world, the best Pikachu in history, if I'm allowed to say, and he's Guatemalan. So yeah, let's welcome ShinyMark.
What's up, Leo? Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be here. And yeah, honestly, very crazy weekend for sure. Honestly, one of the highlights of my life, easily.
I would imagine it's one of the biggest highlights of your life, Shiny. Yeah. But of course, I mean, like I mentioned in the intro, you're being one of the players that have been in the upcoming rankings ever since, I'm pretty sure you started, doing very well ever since Smash Factor 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That was your... Yeah, that was, your breakout tournament. I remember, we even played at that one tournament. We played in winner's quarters. And you got 5th place. So, really... As a friend and as a top player, of course, I'm really proud of how far you've come. But yeah, just tell me a little bit about the weekend. I know that you've been in Mexico. Well, you're in Guatemala now, but I know you were in Mexico ever since Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was Thursday. Yeah. Literally right after Coinbox, I just went there immediately, and that was actually part of I don't want to say the struggle because then I did pretty well at the pre-local. I really wanted to get late pools at the pre-local, you know, because I'm definitely the type of player that likes to get his practice in before the tournament, just to kind of notice oh, I'm doing these things well, I'm doing these things badly. Let me just fix it before the actual tournament, you know. So Coinbox happened, and a lot of people went up to me and were like, dude, I'm really sorry that you lost because of the turn on T-Jolt. Yeah. So many people told me that, even you.
Yeah, I did. I was watching that Coinbox. I'm really surprised, the stamina you have, right? You got a second at Coinbox. We don't talk about that. Bowser Jr. Online is just some other shit. But you went on Thursday, pre-Factor, over there. For me, Smash Factor this time, of course, Factor started on Saturday, right? But ever since the pre-local, we kind of just started try-harding. The tournament, for me, it started on Thursday. I don't know about you. Of course, it was only the pre, but, well, I had a chance to play you. You were playing amazing ever since. I guess we shouldn't be talking a lot about pre-Factor because I lost to you, and also because that's not, the very important tournament, right? But, yeah. Of course, you won both, and... Yeah, just tell me a little bit about you already said that you like getting to the venue before and you like the late pools because you like to get your practice in. And believe me, when I was playing you, I mean, I you were on point. Everything you were doing was very good. Every single edge guard, every single combo, you never miss a single combo. That's what I'm really impressed by, and it's just really insane that you were able to play really well the entire weekend. Because, well, doing it is not super easy, right?
Yeah.
I guess let's start with you explaining you getting to Mexico and just playing the 2 days at the pre-local. Because I also know that you played Many, another top 8 at Smash Factor, right? You played with Many in teams. So yeah, just tell me a little bit about how is Mexico treating you ever since Thursday and when you got to Mexico.
Yeah, so basically, like I said, it was a little heavy in terms of the travel because I finished Coinbox at my Guatemalan time zone. I think it was 12, 12 in the midnight, basically, right? And then I had to leave for my flight around 4 a.m. So after the tournament ended and I lost, I was like thinking like, okay, why did I lose? Let me like I was obviously salty, and I was just kind of thinking of like how I could fix it basically, right? Then I made the bags for the travel, just like got everything ready, got a good like solid 2.5 hours of sleep, and then got into the plane. That's also why I wanted the late pools. So um, fortunately, I was able to sneak in like 1 more hour of sleep at the hotel, and then once I landed at the pre-local, I was definitely worried because I was mad tired. The people that like took care of me, like took me to the hotel, took me like checked me in, took me to the pre-local, were really really nice. Shout out to them, part of the Smash Factor team. But I was worried about the pre-locals because of the sleep. So I got through pools. I almost lost to Fruits, the Pac-Man, because I that matchup is definitely like very even. It's one of the slowest matchups for Pikachu for sure. And I thought I could just like outplayer him. So game one, I just like try to brute force it, but it doesn't work like that. These players are on their stuff all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
they're campy all the time, the
yeah,
Pac-Mans.
exactly. So then I chose to time him out back, and then I won the game three. Fortunately, I was able to beat Gilhu 2-0 and then Mao 3-0. And then at that point, I was like, okay, now I play Gluttony. Let me rest up a little bit because I know there's gonna be a break. So I put on my face mask to sleep. I put on some.
Yeah.
I think you saw me because you were very
Yeah,
close
I
to
saw
me.
you sleeping. I saw you sleeping for sure. I just remembered.
Yeah, so I took like a good like an hour and a half nap, and once I woke up, I was like, okay, I feel really rested up. And then I just played really well against Gluttony, 3-0 against Gluttony, lost against Meister. That was when the 9 happened, when I got like turned around.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was really unfortunate because you were doing the combo, right? You were doing up
yeah,
till nair, and I guess you missed the grab, and he was just like mashing up B, and
I think
that
it was
was kind
a
of like
nair up smash, and then I dropped it, and he was mashing
oh
up me
that's
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but that was also like really lucky by him, right? Because he was mashing up B and he got the side B, he got the miss input, and he also got the 9. That was
Yeah.
that was
I,
some
I asked
bullshit,
him
bro.
later, and I was like, bro, tell me the truth. And he was like, yeah, I was mashing up B, my bad, bro. And, hey, but it already happened. I was like, yeah, man, it already happened. But yeah, so I lost that 3-0, and then I had to go through losers. Which, like, after I lost to Meister, I was obviously, like, slightly sad about the 9 happening, but I was like, okay, I'm not necessarily playing bad, like, just momentum shifted in his favor because of that. But the game plan itself is not wrong. I think if I play it again and keep a strong mental, I can definitely do it. So I went to
Yeah,
losers. I think I immediately played Chag, if I'm not wrong. I beat Chag 3-0. I then played Cosmos, beat him 3-0 as well. I then played Meister. No, yeah, Meister again for a
yeah,
3-0, which was very relieving, because I had already beating Meister online, but never truly offline. And as you know, like that's obviously
yeah,
like the true test of skill. It's obviously a pre-local, but it's definitely nice to see that you are able to beat your worst historical
yeah. Of
matchup of all
course,
time.
yes,
Um, so I did that, and then we got into grand finals. And honestly,
yeah.
like that second set was one of my favorite sets of all time to play with you for sure.
Playing with you is always really fun. Like I remember, like Smash Factor 9 winners quarters.
Yeah,
I went Aegis. Then I'm pretty sure the next time we played was a Collision 2023, right?
collision. Yeah,
That was to make top 8. That was actually another top 8 that you got over there, and it's just really impressing, like the way you play against Aegis. You told me the same thing, right? Like it's really impressing the way I play against Pikachu with
yeah,
Aegis. I do not know why I'm good in that matchup because I saw you playing Cosmos. I remember watching you against Cosmos, and you destroyed that man, bro. Like it wasn't even close. It was actually so bad that he changed to Inkling, and it was actually
yeah,
even worse. So, bro, that was. I'm not gonna lie. I was really surprised about doing that good against you, but I guess the ages is just different, right? But
for sure. It's
I
I think it's a
understood.
play style difference.
Yeah, definitely, because Cosmos and I are good in different things for sure. I believe my foresight usage is the best out of like any ages,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's probably why it's also pretty hard for you to like set up your game entirely. But talking about Meister, I agree with. It doesn't matter if it's a weekly. It doesn't matter if it's a local. It doesn't. It also doesn't even matter if it's like a money match or something, right? Like if you're able to constantly beat 3-0, actually, the person you always struggle with and Game and Watch, Meister, whatever, like that just shows how much work you put and how well you were playing. Like, not gonna lie, I was really scared of you getting to Grands because, of course, like my record against Meister is also pretty good.
Really
So I
good.
was really confident against him. So when I saw you winning, not gonna lie, I was telling my girlfriend that I really wanted to play you, right? Because I knew that like if I won against Meister again, like like when you win tournaments, when beating the same people over and over again, it kind of
Yeah.
feels like nothing changed, right? I'm pretty sure you understand that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
like I understand how happy you can be like after beating Meister, and of course that one said, bro, that was really fun. I think bro, I should have swapped to Aegis a lot like before like the second set. When I
Yeah, I
was
agree.
down 2-1, like with Joker in the first set, I should have just swapped to Aegis and just tried. But my Joker wasn't doing bad at all. That's why I was like kind of confident. And the matchup is kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I really like playing bad matchups, which I know you consider Pikachu to be Joker and maybe Aegis, but it's still fun to play them, right? And in my opinion, it's not impossible. But
Understand. Yeah.
like, congrats! I gotta tell you, like, other than that, I'm pretty happy that I got to play you because I know that you've been like killing it recently. Another one of your great results is Diamond Dust. We'll be talking about it later, but yeah, you were playing really well, and that nap that you took over there, like behind your bag, I that was
Definitely
completely
carried for
necessary.
sure. And honestly, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
just
was
wanted
necessary.
to congratulate you as well because like for that tournament, like again, I think that was like the highest level set that I played with you of all time easily. Like you said, like Joker, Pikachu, definitely I would definitely say we both agree it's worse than like it's a worse matchup than Aegis Pikachu, you know? Because I think Pikachu Joker is low key +1, maybe closing to like even worse. But then Aegis Pikachu, I could say it's like pretty even until you're off stage, obviously, right?
Yeah,
So I think that makes it a ton more doable. And like you said, like I played really, really well against Cosmos, and for you to like make those adjustments to make it like so much harder for me as Pikachu talks a lot about your discipline in neutral, you know? There was even like that game 4 where it was like ultra last hit with like 20 seconds left in the clock. I think we
yes.
neither of us noticed it until when
The
the last
back air
hit.
until you got hit by the
Yeah,
back air,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We
Yeah,
were
yeah.
both like, okay, this is like incredibly close. I think then you missed slightly an up tilt, and I got the dash attack,
And you
and
dashed the
I'm sure it was heartbreaking for you because it was so close, and then I popped off
yeah.
like really. I popped off even harder than for the Smash Factor win. So it was very very intense. But honestly, I was really happy with the way we were both playing, and of course, honestly, just speaking back to even before the coin box, even before the pre-local, um, I'm sure you understand. But like sometimes we definitely like tend to overthink things when we are like preparing for these tournaments.
Yeah,
And I was definitely overthinking a ton. I was like, okay, I'm not in my prime. I'm not playing that well. Let me just do what I think is good, but I'm not even sure if like my game plan is working. So for me to win, for me to get second at the coin box, even though it was heartbreaking, it was definitely motivating. But then for me to win the pre-local, it was like, okay, I'm playing really well. I should take this into the actual tournament and just fix a few things, you know. And that
yeah.
I did.
You certainly did, my bro. You certainly did. You definitely did. But I thank you for saying that my age is amazing. Hopefully, we play again soon. We should play online for sure. I really want to get the Pikachu practice because now that you've been like doing so good, you won the Smash Factor with Pikachu. It's literally the biggest Pikachu win of all time,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure Elite Smash and everybody will be like, yeah, maybe Pikachu's broken. Maybe, bro.
He
Maybe the best in the
always
game.
has been. He always has been
Yeah.
really insanely broken.
Okay, before we go into the actual tournament, Smash Factor, what's do you still think Pikachu is the best character in the game, right?
Uh, I think ever since we saw the Steve Renaissance, I don't want to say Renaissance because he's always been on top, but I've like I think it's pretty undisputed that Steve is the best, honestly, right? Like even if I want to like argue like okay, Pikachu's peak, if Pikachu doesn't make mistakes, if Pikachu doesn't drop combos, you could say the same thing for Steve. Like Steve just um I think there's an argument for Steve to like maybe lose to Pikachu and Sonic, maybe. But even then, I think there's a lot that Steve's could be improving. There's a lot of positional potential that they could be doing. Obviously, the zero to death potential. There's a lot of text that they're still not doing. So I think even if I were to push it like as hard as I can, I couldn't argue that Pikachu is better than Steve. You know, maybe in some things, maybe if the Steves aren't playing like completely well, I think there could be an argument for Pikachu to be the best sometimes. But realistically, I want to say like he's on average around. I want to say he's tied for second to fifth. I want to say comfortably.
I see. Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Would you tell me your top five,
yeah.
please?
I
I'm really
think
curious.
so. First up is Steve, obviously. Second, I want to say could be mostly a tie between Pikachu, Sonic, and Game and Watch. And then
Okay.
fifth is probably Rob. I want to say like Rob could be tied with those five, or sorry, those four. But I think he also loses to Pikachu and Game and Watch. You know, so that's kind of like
Yeah.
why I put him at that fifth place, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really surprised because not a lot of top players think about like Rob being a top five. I know that there are some that think Rob is like ridiculously broken. For me, Rob has never been like a super problem. Like I do think Rob might be like 10 to 12,
Okay.
but I'm really surprised. Of course, I mean, I could argue about it, but like you also know a lot about the game. You're one of the players that study the game the most, and you're one of the most optimal players, if I'm allowed to say it, because I do really believe so.
Thank you.
So yeah, okay. Let's talk about the Smash Factor. I was following your run because, well, I wanted to win the tournament and I think I had a good chance. But of course, I'm always checking out like who I think have like the biggest chances, right? And I was watching you play, and the first set I watched you play was against Rocks. I don't know how was your run like before Rocks, but Rocks was the first person that I saw you playing, and I believe that was like also really close, right?
Yeah, he like definitely. I couldn't tell if he like necessarily prepared, but him as a player, I think is actually probably one of the most underrated players in the world. Because when he is on, he I think constantly beats like 98, 97% of Mexico. Like pretty much,
Yeah.
he can beat everyone in Mexico. I think,
Yeah.
and he was just really patient. Pikachu, I think most people can intuitively think that Pikachu wins that matchup, but it's definitely very slow, especially because Sheik is probably the character with the best neutral in the game in terms of like having needles and having that mobility and the frame data, you
Yeah.
know. So even though Pikachu wins basically just for out rewarding her and having better hitboxes than her, I cannot just like run in and mash on her. You know, I still have to take my time. I still have to take stage control. I still have to earn my neutral wins. You know, but when it was all said and done, I was able to clean it up. That was the first set of the like that. I actually no, it was the second set that I played on stream. And it was the first set where I had a little bit of interference. So I got a little bit worried, and I made sure to like disconnect the controller from my like the Switch setup that I was playing in
Yeah.
and the setup next to us. And then that fixed it. And then for the rest of the day, I didn't have any interference.
Do you use a pro GGC, or how do you
GCC?
call it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like a pro one, or you use a normal pro?
So this is my main controller. It's literally just a normal pro controller. Um, and I honestly just prefer it because of feel and just comfort. You know, if I am able to play normal Procon in a tournament, I'm gonna use it. But then this right here is my Pro GCC. I just put it like on a painted plate that I had left over from another Pro controller. But yeah, the way it works is just like normal Procon is, as you know, just a wireless controller. But the Pro GCC only works while plugged in. So personally, I do feel like there's a feel difference when you're playing with both of the controllers. So I still prefer to stick with what I'm most comfortable with. But I like as I was getting into playing the Sonic set in winners, like before top eight, I like test. I told him, can we do like a two button to just like make sure that my normal Pro controller is working. If not, I'm gonna use the Pro GCC. Sorry, and he told me like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And unfortunately, there wasn't any interference, so I was able to play like as comfortable as I wanted to.
Nice. Awesome. Now that you mention it, you also played Sonix like in top 32, if I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
Like
That was for top
one,
24. Yeah,
I mean, playing Sonix 3 sets in a single tournament. I know how painful that can be, bro. I'm really surprised about your stamina. Like at the end of the tournament, when Sonix actually pulled out the I gotta take a shit, and he went to the bathroom, and then he came back like after 20 minutes.
yeah,
That,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I'm just really surprised like how you got your mental like in there, right? And after losing the first set, we'll talk about grands after. But yeah, tell me a little bit about the first Sonic set, because of course that was grand finals happening in top 24 winners.
Yeah.
So what was like the difference of that one set, the one that you played in winners, like you wanted, which was really important because then you would have gone to losers, and then the run wouldn't been a lot harder, right?
Yeah.
That was alongside with Meister one of the most important sets, I believe, for you in the tournament. So how was that playing for you?
Honestly, between Sonix and I, there's really no secrets in the matchup anymore. Like we've played easily more than 50 sets lifetime, between offline and online. I think offline that was our first set, but even though it's online, even though it's coin box and stuff, we both take it very seriously in terms of like obviously we want to win because of the pride. Obviously we want to get better, but also the money, you know. So we've like both in the past we were actually pretty close in terms of like being friends plus competitors. You know, we like to help each other a ton in the game. So there was definitely an episode or like a moment where Sonix was just beating me for so many sets straight, and I DM'd him like, "How do I deal with spin dash?" You know, and he answered kind of briefly, but then I also had to do a lot of my own homework. I also went around asking a lot of top players, you know, even yourself. I asked you, I think
Okay.
you were streaming one day, and I asked you something. So I just
Yeah.
took all of those notes, and from that, I started winning a lot more often against him online. To the point where he started DMing me like, "Dude, how do I deal with T-Jolt?" So it's been just like a back and forth for both of us, and we both figure things out in the matchup. You know, like very very specific matchup, specific things, and to the point where I think neither of us really prepare that much nowadays for each other, just because of like how ingrained the matchups are into our heads, you know? Like
Yeah.
we just know everything going into it. So personally for me, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the matchup. It's just a matter of me showing that I can do it offline, you know? So that was all that was going through my head. The first two games I think I played kind of lazily. Like I was giving him a lot of easy mistakes and I was giving him a lot of like easy openings, you know? Where online and obviously at the comfort of my home, all I'm thinking is just like don't give him free openings, get a lead, and just run away with it. You know. So I went down 2-0 against him, and then I took like a second to breathe. I think he also gave me like an SD game three, so that definitely shifted a lot of momentum in my favor. Um, but then I was able to just like execute my game plan, and then game five particularly was extremely convincing. I just got like a early stock lead, then I snowballed it into like another full complete stock lead, and then I just run away with it.
Man, I'm still really surprised how you were able to play that game, like the game that you were telling me, right? Like just get the lead, play well, don't keep openings, and run away with it. Like I'm pretty sure you understand how hard that is to
Yeah,
just like you're thinking about it, and I understand. Like when you're at home and your comfort is like, oh yeah, I just gotta do it. Like you're chilling at home, right? Like what
of course.
happens?
Yeah.
But when you're in a tournament, it definitely shifts a lot of things. Bro, I'm just still just really surprised how you were able to play like that with Pika, because yeah, Pika is super broken, blah blah blah, but he's also really hard to play.
Yeah.
So that's really impressive. And then the next set was Meister, which I'm pretty sure it went game five, right?
Yeah,
Bro,
it was game five.
You played Meister 3 times this week. That's crazy.
Sonix and Meister three times. Yeah.
Yes, and you were able to win two against both of them. Well, let's talk about Meister now. I know that's like the worst, possibly the worst matchup for Pikachu, one of the
Easily.
worst.
Yes.
But yeah, like I don't know, like when I see you playing Meister, you just feel so comfortable. Like one of two things might happen, like he might like rub you stuck, blah blah, but you just were playing really well that matchup. And I'm pretty sure like a lot of things changed from Meister because it wasn't a 3-2, it was a
Yeah,
game five.
definitely.
So Like again, I mentioned that it was one of the most important sets. How do you feel about like playing Meister again after playing him twice, like already, and just being able to pull out the game 5?
Yeah, so first off, I just want to clarify, like specifically with Sonix, Meister, and Spargo, but Spargo I haven't gotten the chance to actually beat him consistently yet.
Mm.
But with the first two, you don't understand how traumatized I've been from online and just playing with them. Like I've lost so many times to them, so to the point where, like as you know, yeah, I'm a very studious player. You know, like I will just analyze stuff,
Yes.
to the brim, just kind of I love to like solve matchups, you know, just like find okay, this is a good position for me. So I'm gonna like try to exploit this as much as possible. This is like I divide matchups into positions a lot. I divide them into percents a lot,
Mm-hmm.
until I find like solutions, you know. And
Yeah.
honestly, this was something I was telling some of my students recently. They were wondering like, how do I study someone that I don't have VODs to analyze from? You know, like there's maybe at the time for 2022 when I had to play Siski at Smash Factor, they asked
Yeah.
me, "How did you prepare for Siski?" There were no Pikachu's that had been top level Samus, and I told them I analyzed MKLeo's win against Siski, the most recent one, him using Byleth against Samus, and just like
Yeah.
correlated the positions that Leo was winning neutral
Yeah.
for Pikachu, you know, and it just mixed together. And if you're a flexible enough character, you can do that really easily, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
That's for sure.
so I just wanted to give that tip for the people that are listening here. But in terms
Yeah.
of
Of
Meister,
course.
for the pre-local set, I think set one was definitely. I didn't play bad. Again, as I said earlier, I just lost momentum, and he was playing well. No taking credit for him. Set two, I definitely was down to play a lot more degenerate, you know, in terms of like the timeouts and stuff. So I went pretty convincingly there. And I think the set of Smash Factor was the culmination of those two sets, you know, where both of us were like, okay, you're playing well, I'm playing well. Let us both be very, very disciplined, you know. Um, and honestly, I can just say like it was a very back and forth set. Like we were both playing very disciplined. Usually, I think Meister is very prone to fall into his flowcharts, you know, in terms of like
Yeah.
where Game and Watch is very strong in terms of like let me look for the grab, let me look for the nair at low percents, and then let me look for the smash attacks at high percents. Obviously, a ton more complicated than that, but uh, if you know that those moments are coming, then you can be prepared to like punish him and save a
Yeah.
read, for example, you know, to like cash in and get like an early kill. For that set particularly, he didn't give me any of that. Like you were just playing very good stage control, very honest gameplay. Honestly, we were both poking him with his fair, me with movement and down tilt, until one of us just like gave an opening and just lost because of advantage state. You know,
Yeah.
and honestly, like what put the nail on the coffin per se was the game five set. I just randomly gained like a very big lead in terms of like me getting the first stock very solidly. Just advantage state, just put him on the corner, send him off stage, let's trap him, and then got one of the first let's of the entire set. Got a early kill. Then I got an entire sequence, got a full stock basically from a zero to death. And that was me up three stocks to one. That pretty much was what won me the set,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. The only thing that could have just gone wrong was like you getting down smash at like 60 or
Down
9
smash or
again.
nine, exactly, yeah. And I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
trying my hardest for that not to happen, of course.
Yeah, for I feel like that's the problem with Game and Watch sometimes. Like you mentioned Meister sometimes falling out for his flowcharts. I've seen Meister losing so many times because he does. And and I also know a lot of Meister's habits,
Yeah,
so I definitely do know what you're talking about. But I do not know, like you mentioned that Game and Watch is top like tied for top three. But like for example, for me, Game and Watch is not even like top 10
really? Oh,
cause
okay.
yeah, cause those kind of things. I don't know if it's because like the character changes. Cause of course I play Joker Aegis, which do very good against Game and Watch. Even Violet does very amazing against Game and Watch. And I also played Meister a lot. So sometimes I do feel that that's just something about Game and Watch. Like every single time, like for example, another person that does that to Meister is Spargo. Like Spargo's also very good against Meister.
Easily.
And a lot of the times I see Game and Watch like for example, you get Game and Watch in the air, he goes for downer. But what other thing would he go for? Like would he just land for like normally?
Yeah,
Would
and
he
he's
just
really
up B
floaty.
and yeah, would he just like up B and be in the same spot but worse, like not jump? Or would he just fair? And I feel like any of those options are really punishable if you're like like on point, right? If you really know about like the options that Game and Watch have, I'm pretty sure for Pikachu's a lot harder, right? Like it's one of your worst matchups. But like I don't know about this, but I'm pretty sure you will start having like an easier time against Game and Watch from now on because you're
Yeah,
realizing like that kind of stuff. And also like I think it has to do a lot with the player too, because every single Game and Watch is like different.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that you will start doing very good against Meister, but again, I of course respect you saying that Game and Watch is like a top five character because I do think the character is broken, but I played Meister too much to like not think about Game and Watch a little bit like not that broken.
I definitely
Ma-
understand what you're saying. Like I think you're saying that basically Game and Watch kind of has to do those things because he
yeah,
honestly is
exactly.
a very linear character if you think about it. And honestly, if you don't give him those like free openings, like low percent nair and grab, you're rarely gonna be taking like 60% like because those are obviously like his uh biggest reward options, you know.
Yeah,
Then at kill percent, it's the same thing. If you don't give him the smash attacks, then you're gonna be living until really really high percent. Which I agree. Like if you don't give him that, then he definitely starts to struggle more. But I definitely do think that the mix of like just the solid advantage state and the solid advantage state in terms of like the juggling upper, the mix of like he has one of the best edge guards in the game, surprisingly, I think, and
yeah,
the ledge trapping, you know, like all of that, like sure, it might make it a little bit harder for him in terms of like layer one, like really rewarding options for him. But I definitely do think like the mix of like his neutral is not bad. It's just he's just kind of slow. But if he is very like patient and decides to like corner you, you know, then he can definitely like earn those neutral wins and transition that into his ridiculous advantage state. You know, easily one of the best of the game, if not the best in the
yeah.
game.
If not the best, yeah.
Exactly. And then for disadvantage state, like you said, like maybe the juggling, like landing with downer, he probably sometimes has to do that, and he will probably sometimes like get punished no matter what. But at least he's not as prone as someone like Aegis, for example, you know, to like get sent off stage once and like just lose the game from that
Mhm.
at like 20%. You know, like he can always
Yeah, that's
recover.
for
He
sure.
can always have some mix-ups. Maybe he will die earlier than some other characters in terms of weight. But he I want to say is very very consistent. And one thing that I value a ton is his matchup chart. You know, like he just invalidates a ton of characters, and he rarely loses to any characters in the meta. Honestly, like there was a time where people were saying like Cloud just kind of washed him, Aegis just kind of washed him. But I think nowadays most Game and Watch are saying that he only loses like 3 or 4 matchups. You know, which are like Rosalina, CSS, maybe Aegis, and maybe a
Yeah,
few more. But you know, I think that's definitely something very, very valuable for the meta. And personally, that's Loki the thing that I value the most in the meta. It's just like matchup charts. You know, that's also
yeah.
why I think like Steve, Pikachu, and Sonic particularly are top three
Mhm.
because their matchup charts are ridiculous. Like if anything, they lose to like 1 or 2 characters, then they go even with like another like 7 or 8, and then they just beat everyone else. You know.
Yeah. That's yeah. That's exactly what I think about it, Steve, Sonic, and Pika.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I don't know.
One last thing I
Give
want to add though is
yeah.
I do think like the meta like between the top tiers is closer than ever. You know, like I
Mhm.
definitely think you could argue for so many characters for them to be
Yeah.
like top 5 or top 10 or top 15. Like I'm sure we've talked in the past and you've mentioned you've thought like Joker or Snake has been top 5 in the past, but maybe now your opinion has changed. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely a very shifting meta for sure.
The meta is changing so much, and that's what I love. I really love about this game. It's just in a spot where like the game is just evolving, wouldn't you say? Like we definitely are not playing the same game that we used to play. Not even like 4 years ago. Like even like a year and a half ago. Like a year ago. Like we definitely not playing the same game. Thanks, of course, for like people like thanks to people like you that tend to study a lot, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people nowadays that do the same thing. And there's just a lot of top players, well, like high level players that can do like a lot of damage in tournaments, right? Talking about like all the regions: Japan, Europe, North America, South America, Central America, where you're from. Um, like I'm pretty sure the game will keep evolving. That's what I'm really excited about
Easily,
because
yeah.
yeah, because the game is not done. But yeah, just to close out this Game and Watch argument, I yeah, I think I can see what you're saying. I do definitely believe Game and Watch is broken, but I like for me, I could see 10, maybe 8 or 9 more characters are like better than could be better than Game and Watch,
Can I
simply
ask?
because like
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
simply because like in my opinion, those like sometimes Game and Watch is just like death. I understand that the same thing happens with Aegis. It's different though because Aegis is like off stage and sometimes you have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that getting Aegis out of the stage is hard because sometimes it's not even hard. Sometimes Aegis just like put themselves in there,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know, like sometimes it just feels like that bad for Game and Watch. Like Espargo like did something against Meister. He did like up throw,
Oh, the
upper,
up smash.
and then up smash, and it's like, what is Meister gonna do? Up B and not do anything? Is he gonna fair and die? Is he gonna back air and die? Is he gonna air dodge and then Espargo would react? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just like sortie based, right? Maybe just sorties do very, very good. And for me, like for example, Sparkle does it too. And for me, I do not really have problems on the ledge trap because a lot of my characters can just like, for example, Aegis. Like if Game & Watch is throwing out the bacon, I can just jump at the bacon, nair, and my nair will be the bacon and also hit Game & Watch.
That's true. Yeah.
And that happens with Violet, that happens with Joker, that happens with Cloud. And I don't know if that happens with Pikachu. Can Pikachu do it? Like with Fair, maybe?
Maybe with Fair, but since the a lot of Pikachu's multi-hits are the type of multi-hits that aren't like active all the time, you know? So there are like slight gaps between the multi-hits. So sometimes you're gonna get the bad luck of like one of the multi-hits not being active and then one of the bacons actually hitting you, you know? I think for the Fair you could do it, but then because that's I think Pikachu's most active aerial with like Downer, but Downer is obviously not a multi-hit. But with Fair, I think you could probably do it most consistently, but I think the way that the hitbox is positioned would be kind of awkward for you to like aim it like rising diagonally with the horizontal hitbox up there, you know?
Yeah.
So honestly, if anything, what I do is just like I instant wall jump upper, hit one of the first bacons, and then quick attack to a platform or something, you know?
Yeah.
Which is pretty privileged, but like, you know, there's definitely like really, counterplay.
Definitely privileged, but it's not as easier. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Maybe it's just matchup dependent, like we were talking. But okay, I'm gonna tell you the characters I believe are like really broken.
Of course, I was gonna ask you that, like for the content and for the people, tell us your top 5, your current top 5.
My top 5. Okay, Steve is number 1, hands down. After that, I believe is Sonic. Sonic is top 2.
Very understandable.
Then after this, I don't know if I'm capping, but I definitely will say Snake. Snake is top 3.
I can see it. I have it at like my 6th, and honestly, that's not far at all. So I definitely understand.
Yeah, and then, bro, I'm sorry, but 4th is Peach for me. Peach is still really fucking boasted. And then 5, I would give it to Pika or Joker for sure. I do believe Joker is better than Aegis, like hands down. That's my top 5. I would say maybe Pika 5, then Joker 6, and then after that there goes characters like, well, another character that I do believe is really fucking stupid is just like Mario, but I wouldn't.
Oh,
like,
dude,
I don't want to talk about Mario.
That's low-key my hottest take. I tweeted that like I think like 2 months ago, where I said I think Mario is low-key the most underrated character in the meta. Like I don't even lose to him like that, but just seeing his toolkit, like it's so ridiculous. Like everything he has -2 moves. He has a projectile like Pikachu, like a Pikachu like projectile, you know, that kind of forces you to do stuff at certain timings. He has a tool that resets neutral with Flood. Like that character's so broken, dude.
He's broken. Like every single time I watch Mario playing, they were played very differently, right? Kurama, Snow, Super Dog, Skinny the Pooh, like they were played really different, and you're always fucking scared of just like something happening. Like I've seen Super Dog, like Super Dog's from my region, by the way. Yeah. I've seen Super Dog just being like, "Oh, you're at 20%. I hit you once, and you're dead." It's kind of like just sitting out a combo. Like your conversions are the thing that matter. I don't know. For me, Mario is also pretty broken. Mario is 7, and then after that, Kazuya. I think Kazuya's top 10. Then maybe I would just say Game & Watch, like 9, maybe Rob 10, which I'm not really sure because I do believe another character that's really broken is Roy. I think Roy could
Okay.
be a top 10 character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my top 10. Kazuya definitely being in top 10. I don't know if you think Kazuya's top 10, but
I think
he's
there's
definitely broken.
definitely an easy argument for him to be top 10. Personally, I don't put him there. It's like barely. He's like 12 or something at my tier list.
Mm,
I just value like mobility and like matchups a ton,
yeah,
and I think he definitely gets like I don't want to say like fully shut down by a few characters, but honestly, if you decide to play like the matchup correctly all the time, he tends to struggle against a lot of characters actually.
yeah.
But he obviously has the Kazuya factor, which is insane, and
Yeah,
yeah.
because even if he sucks at some point, he's like bro, like tournament environment matters a lot. And I feel like when you're in that tournament environment, Kazuya just goes like, boom. If you always play Kazuya in friendlies, like bro, you wouldn't even care. Like
Yeah,
Kazuya is actually
basically.
like a top 15, top 20 in friendlies, but in tournament, he's just so fucking scared.
I
But
agree.
yeah, that's my top 10. But yeah, Snake is really broken. Hopefully we see Horde more often.
Dude,
I
I want
believe
to
Horde
play him really badly. Have you played Hurt yet?
I played him, but in a crew battle. Like I didn't have the chance
Ah,
to play him in a set. I won the three stock to three stock in
mhm.
Japan, but like I don't know how like a tournament environment will go because Snake is also really fucking broken in tournament environment.
Yeah,
Don't you think? Yeah.
definitely makes you mess up a lot against him because there's a lot of
Yes.
things that are very precise against him. Like you know how you have to like aim to his feet to like not make the grenades explode. That's so easy
Yes.
to mess up. So
And
definitely
like he
would
has
love
a
to
lot of
see him play.
setups.
Yeah,
He has a lot of setups. Like if you messed up, like if you literally fall for a trap, let's call it a trap, like you get 80%. You might even die.
yeah.
So it's
There,
exciting.
there was one clip of you playing Alandis, I think, in an online tournament. That was, yeah, I'm pretty sure you remember because it took like
I
80
remember.
and like less than 2 seconds. It was insane.
I could explain about two grenades. I could explain about the C4, and I also got hit by downer by fair.
By fair and then up tilt.
Yes, that was 88%, 89%. I almost died. That
Jesus
was by Lil, I believe.
Christ, dude.
Yeah, he's broken. But okay, to talk more about his match factor, your next set was Manny, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I really wanted to play you in that
Oh yeah, I forgot you
loser semis.
lost to him. I'm sorry about
Yeah, I
that,
lost to
dude.
Manny. Unfortunate. I could go talking about this. I don't want to talk about this, of course. But because I was winning game one, then I fucked it up. I won game two. I was winning game three by a lot. But I know the exact moment everything like
Shifted?
changed. Yeah, everything shifted. I was like, I even remember, like, I'm gonna say it in Spanish. I was like, "Que puto imbécil." Like when that happened to me, I remember I was at like 100%, 90%, and he was already at like last stock 40%, and I had two
Yeah.
stocks. And I remember I was pressuring him with Saibi, and I jumped wrong. I jumped and I got blocked by a blocked XD, and I just got hit by Saibi, and I died at like 90%. And I like ever since that moment, I was like, "Que imbécil." Like after that moment, I was like, "Bro, it could go either way. I don't know what's gonna happen."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
That
definitely
was
one
that
of
was my
those
bad.
matchups where you just have to ask yourself, like, I am like, if I'm gonna do this, is there any risk of me dying? Because there is a risk of you dying from a lot of things, you know. And if there is even a minuscule chance of you getting up tilted, jabbed, grabbed, minecarded, grabbed, don't do it. It's
Run
not
away.
worth it. Just reset
Yeah,
neutral and run away. Yep.
yeah. That was my bad. Like I said, I exactly know and remember the moment everything shifted. I was, bro, so sad.
I
I wouldn't be
understand,
it wouldn't be so nice to play like in winter semis. But
dude. Yeah.
yeah, tell me a little bit about that set. I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, I saw it and it was kind of easy for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, explain your game
So
plan a little bit.
honestly, personally, I do think I'm Loki like top three in the world against Steve currently. In terms of like experience, maybe a little lower, maybe like top five, because there's definitely a good amount of players like Sonix, Spargo, via Hurt, and then I could be in that conversation, you know. But I just have a ton of Steve experience. Like from the quarantine days, I used to be again traumatized. I have been traumatized by a few characters, and then I just eventually figure them out just from raw suffering and studying. You know. Unfortunately, I have had a ton of experience against Hunter from my region. You know, in
Hunter.
Guatemala, I think we
Yep.
have like easily like 50 sets offline, and our set count is very much in my favor. Same for Manny. We played, I think, more than 20 sets online, and I think it's like, I'm not sure about the exact same set count, but like 17 and 2 or something. It's very much in my favor, you know. And I
Mm.
just have beaten pretty much all the Steves except like Akola, you know. I even beat Onin at Diamond Dust as well. So
Yeah.
pretty much my entire game plan is like I just said, you know, I ask myself like at low percent, is there anything that gets me hit by jab, up tilt, and grab particularly? Because those are the one that enable the zero to deaths or like the 80% combos. If yes, then don't do it and reset neutral. You know. Then at like mid percent, instead of like those moves, it becomes more of like minecart, up tilt, and I guess backer. You know, just you don't want to end up off stage.
Mm.
I just like hyper focus on not getting hit by those moves, and I think it's very manageable because of like how much of a low mobility Steve has, you know. So you can really
Yeah.
just tell yourself to not take risk in like very specific spots, and then just reason neutral over and over. It's obviously very slow, very disciplined, but I think with characters like ours, like Joker and Pikachu,
Yeah. Joker
we
can.
have Gun and we have T-Jolt. You know, we can just like play the chip damage game. We can. For me, one of the biggest win conditions actually against Steve is hitting his shield like once or twice, and as you know, like if Steve gets hit by something in his shield, he cannot angle his shield anymore. So I just play for shield pokes a ton, and pretty much I can always do like T tilt or down tilt into backer, and eventually it's gonna like shield poke. Yeah, I think in terms of like just matchup experience, me knowing Manny, me knowing how most of the Steve players play, I think it's one of the easiest matchups for me to manage. So I think a lot of people would fully hate having a Steve on their path of their top eight. I would
Mm.
honestly prefer having a Steve personally, rather than a lot of other weird characters for sure.
Yeah. That's impressive. That's cool to hear. I'm gonna study you a lot against money because I just talk a little bit about the stuff that you were mentioning. I also believe that positionings have a lot to do in this game when talking about like the matchup spread or like any matchup. Because I always think about the game a lot about like situations, positionings, and consequences, right? Because a lot of the times you will be in the same situation but in a different position, and a lot of times you will be in the same position but different situations, and those two combined, like it's kind of like the same thing. Like for example, when you're at the ledge, it's the same thing to do jump fair than roll, right? Because you will end up in the same spot. So the way you need to play around it, or like the position you need to have, is the same thing, even though situations are different, and vice versa. I do believe that that's how Smash works. So that just talks about like how talented you are and how good you are at the game.
It's
No, not gonna lie.
definitely, it's been a lot from learning. Like when I was in the come up, I just used to study you and Tweak and Spargo when he was on the come up particularly, and that's one of the things that I noticed the most. And honestly, for like the viewers at home, don't think we're just like robots or something. Like we're not like fully processing absolutely everything at once. It's just like
Exactly.
we have the experience, from like all the times we messed up in the past, and just there are certain priorities that we tend to have. For example, for me, it's just like my priority against Steve at low percent is not getting hit by up tilt, grab, and jab. There might be something else that could hit me. There might be another consequence. But at least it's not going to be as rewarding. So it's all about
Yeah.
just like managing all of those, like the context of percents, positioning, and situations, like Leo mentioned.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the times it's also muscle memory, wouldn't you say? Like
Yeah,
a lot of the times people are like, "Yo, bro, how do you react to it?" And you're like, "It's a combination of the fact that I knew it was gonna happen, and it was a combination of the fact that I already been in that situation, and
yeah.
I know how to react." And sometimes your body just does it automatically, right?
I think
That's
one thing
that.
that I tell people is sometimes it's better to have a read and be wrong, but be like very sure that of like having that read like, attempt happen, rather than like
Mm,
second guess yourself when you're trying to read something. Because
yes.
then that's gonna give you those game winning plays. That's gonna let you like not second guess yourself and like for example read a roll really hard, read a jump really hard, where like if you try to like only react to it and do like a soft option, then that could really shift the tides of the match.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really important to know how to play in every single moment of the game because, again, the game has 7 minutes, 3 stocks, and a lot of stage to play around. So there's a lot of things to have in consideration. But again, it's like Shiny said, we're not robots. We just played the game for a long time and we do our homework. Like anybody can do it for sure.
Basically, yeah, we're just guys.
Yeah. Okay. So the next set against Gact. That was we're about to wrap up the tournament. Gact winners finals. I'm really surprised. I mean, no shame to Gact, of course, right? But I was really surprised Gact won against Shattuck.
Oh yeah,
because I think that matchup is like bad for Ness.
For sure.
Like, I don't know if and Shattuck also has experience against Beastly, if I'm not mistaken. Beastly plays Ness and Diddy Kong.
They were warming up before the set, I'm pretty sure. Like Shattuck and Beastly, so yeah.
Yeah, so I'm surprised like Gact actually beat him. I mean, shoutouts to Gact. Gact is the goat. Always a pleasure having him in Mexico. He's nice as fuck. But yeah, I know Nez might do good against Pika at some point. Like that's what I heard. Nez does good against Pika, I think. So how was that matchup?
Yeah, so basically, for the longest time, like as you know, like Isam was the guy that was voicing all the Pikachu matchups, and of course, like he for the longest time was the Pikachu with the most experience. Even nowadays, I think we still talk. Like Isam and I still ask him for opinions, because he does have the experience of a lifetime with Pikachu. Um, but I'm pretty sure he still thinks that Ness is either our worst matchup or our most uncomfortable matchup. I'm not completely sure which one he thinks. But the point is, he thinks that he beats Pikachu. And personally, for me, I've been advocating for that matchup to be even for a while now. Like ever since like right after the quarantine, I started beating bestness online a good amount, and obviously that's online, but I definitely was seeing like, okay, this character definitely lacks mobility, definitely lacks range, and it's pretty laggy, and especially like if you get any type of hit, his disadvantage is actually really, really, really exploitable. Even if it's just Pikachu uppers that like Pikachu upper that's like 7 per hit. Eventually it racks up into a lot, or maybe eventually I do send him off stage without a double jump, and that turns into like an early stock. So personally, like nowadays, I would consider that matchup to be dead even, probably only a top level, but that's honestly what matters at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just have a ton of experience in that matchup, and I'm pretty sure offline I'm undefeated against the top Nessus. So that I think could speak about the matchup for sure.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you beat Gact at Delfino, right? Was that when
Yeah,
you beat
I
him
beat
too?
Gak
Yeah.
at Delfino Masa and Bestness or Send at Patchwork last year.
I see.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna listen to you, not Esam, of course. So I want to start saying it's even. All right.
It's just Pikachu is just such a flexible character, so he can really. It's very rare for a character to have all the check boxes to like beat Pikachu. And honestly,
Yeah.
at this point, I think it's only possibly Game and Watch, and even then, I would call that a matchup like even or -1 for Pikachu. And that's his
I
worst matchup.
see. I've heard that Mario and Peach also do good against Pikachu, right?
Yeah, it's like probably around even. Mario kind of doesn't let me do T-Jolt as much because of the cape, and it's very lagless. Because some reflectors against Pikachu, like Palutenas, for example, when I played Chag, I was throwing a T-Jolt and baiting him to do the reflector. And similar to what I do to you with Joker or
Yeah.
Rebel's Guard, I just bait it out and like dash attack or like quick attack over it and hit him.
Mhm.
So you just get a free punish against Mario and Dr. Mario. It's very, very hard to line it up because it's very lagless, and then if you hit him at the same time, he just turns you around, and you are now in the bad position. So
Yeah.
for Mario,
Now you're
it's a
getting
lot of
combo.
CQC fighting. And in terms of like having a better, more consistent advantage, Pikachu has the advantage, but then Mario has slightly better hitboxes. He's better at trading because of the stray hits, and he has better kill power. So I would definitely call it a very even matchup if both guys know what's going on, but it's definitely very rough to learn for most Pikachu's.
Yeah.
And
I
Peach
see.
is more of the same, basically. Yeah.
I see. Okay. That's really informative, actually, because I always had the idea that Mario and Peach like beat Pikachu, or that's at least what I've heard from specifically Esam, right?
Isam.
Because
I think both are even,
yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
nice, awesome. Okay, then winners. I mean, grand finals against Sonix. Probably one of the hardest sets that have ever played. I'm pretty sure for both of you, and all history, and also one of the longest. And also, but even though it was one of the longest, it was like good to watch. Like, of course, Sonix is my teammate, right? Like, Sonix is from LG, but
LG.
sometimes watching Sonix is like, okay, I'm gonna just go do other thing, right? Because one, I know Sonix might win. Two,
Might probably win.
I don't want to watch Sonix running away 21 minutes, you know. But that's just how it be for me. But when I was watching your set, I was already home, like from Smash Tractor, and I literally stayed like the whole game just watching like the entire set because it was just so impressive for me. And this is one of the things, like watching that set makes me say the stuff that I was telling you, that the game is evolving. Like the way I was watching you guys play was just like another thing. Like you both were really fast. Were really conscious about like your options on neutral, about your options in disadvantage, what was punishable. Because of course both of you get a grab and get 60% out of nowhere, and also puts your opponent in disadvantage just by like getting a grab or a combo, whatever. And the stuff that I was most impressed by was the fact that you were like going under the stage to like cut off time, and then Sonic started going
Chase
under
me.
the stage. Yeah, that was like, bro, we're literally
What
just
game are
playing
we
under the
playing?
stage now. We're playing under the stage now. That's crazy, and that's the stuff that makes me believe and say that the game is evolving for sure. And what can I tell you? That was like, even though it was an hour, 20 minutes, an hour, 17 minutes, like
Yeah.
it was one of the most fun sets I ever watched, and one of the hypest sets that have ever occurred, like in the game for sure. But I've been mentioning that I'm really impressed by how you played, and even though you lost the first set, and you still had the same game plan. Well, I don't know if you had exactly the same game plan, but you were playing the same as good. That's what I mean. Like you didn't change anything. You didn't look annoyed. You didn't look like depressed. You didn't look like you thought you were gonna
Worried.
lose. Like yeah, like you just kept going, and that's just really impressive. So like the stamina that you have is incredible. So how do you practice that stamina? Like, is it really because like Pikachu is the kind of character that is supposed to play it, like running away and like with the timer, or is it something that you practice regularly, just like having a lot of stamina and just be like yeah, I could do this the entire day.
So it's definitely something I have consciously practiced because I am aware that, for example, against like Meister and Sonix, the win condition at the end of the day might have to be the timeout strats. It's not even because we choose to timeout specifically, but it's kind of like what I mentioned with you in that game 4 that we played in the pre-local. It's just sometimes the games go into that like that deeply. Like we're both playing like that safely for that amount of time, and neither of us want to take risks for long amounts of time. Because I wouldn't even particularly say like maybe we started camping once we saw like the lead was there and it was like an auto win condition, but for the structure and like the rest of neutral, that we were both just like pressuring each other, Sonics with movement, me with like closing space with T-Jolt, and just trying to find that hit, and not take a risk basically. So uh, speaking about like stamina, like again, first off, I just have a lot of experience in the matchups from playing Sonic, so I know what's good, I know what's not good. Uh, Second, like the mentality, in terms of like me losing the first set, like you said, like I was pretty much playing the same game plan. I made one like very conscious adjustment that I won't mention because competitors, but
Yeah.
basically Sonix was punishing me a ton for that, basically. And even he acknowledged it. He after the game he told me like, "Oh, you changed this, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the conscious change that I made, and that's what allowed me to win." So I definitely like was very like locked into the game in terms of like just people were telling me like, "You're gonna win this. You're gonna, got this ShinyMark." But I was like, I'm just thinking like about what my opponent's characters can do and what I can do to win for that, and that's just what kept me going. And honestly, as an overthinker myself, I'm very surprised I was locked in for like more than like 12 hours at the venue, dude. Um, but yeah, it was honestly, I was very, very proud of that. I was very proud of not being tilted. Part of that was just me having like a very universal game plan for Pikachu for me to follow, and just doing slight tweaks for like the matchups, that I needed to make basically.
Yeah,
And the only thing that I just wanted to add is that I did have a very bad placing at Comic Palooza. I don't know if you saw that.
I
Got
saw that.
33rd. That mainly was I got very cocky going into that event because I was getting first at like I got first at Diamond Dust. I got first at
Diamond Dust.
every online tournament that I was playing. I was getting first at my locals and stuff. So I was like, damn, I'm playing really good. I won like two coin boxes that week, those past weeks. So I was like, okay, I'm like very locked in. Let me just not prepare. Let me not practice. And big mistake.
Yeah.
So going into that weekend, the Comic Palooza weekend, I was very cocky, very unprepared, and after that happened, I was like, okay, I'm not letting this happen again. And personally, what I tell people is there's like a triangle of improvement. There's playing, there's bot reviewing, and there's note taking slash theory crafting. And personally, I'm very fond of the VOD review and the theory craft parts. I just love the theory part of the game. I don't love playing the game as much anymore. I used to like grind it a lot in Smash 4, but nowadays I do have the execution. So for preparations for Smash Factor, what I did a lot is just I played the game so much, dude. Like so much more than I usually do. Like at least an hour and a half, 3 hours a day, basically, of like me going into Ryuga Chord, me doing Elite Smash streaks. There was a Elite Smash win streak that I got into like 350 wins in a row or something, and that was just getting me a lot of stamina,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think that's low key one of the things that benefited the most.
Wow. That is crazy. Just listening to that, I'm aware that you had a really bad placement at Cosmic Palooza. Um, it was Kane K. Rule, right? The guy that you lost to. But not gonna lie, when I saw you were going to Cosmic Palooza, I mean, allow me to say that I thought you were gonna win.
Yeah, me too.
Pass is the pass, so whatever. So I understand what like that part of being cocky because I believe I'm also one of the most cocky players out there. I'm very confident in myself, and like if I'm feeling good, I'll just beat them. Like that's how
Yeah,
it be, right?
yeah, yeah.
But sometimes you gotta just go within that because everybody is doing the triangle that you mentioned, and
Exactly.
everybody is just like trying their best, and nobody goes to a tournament simply to lose. Everybody goes to a tournament to try to win. So that's really cool to hear. And what can I tell you, bro? Congrats! I already told you played insane. You are insane, and I cannot wait to see what else you got because I'm pretty sure from now on you will have a lot more opportunities and a lot more to show, right? And I'm pretty sure that you will do it just right.
Thank you.
So once again, congratulations, congrats for winning the Smash Factor, for having that stamina, for being so disciplined, and for being like the kind of player that you are. Because the game is evolving, and yeah, I guess I'm just really excited to see you keep playing and to keep playing alongside with you, right?
Thank
Because
you,
I'm
of
also
course.
gonna keep practicing. Yep. But that was insane. Once again, I wanted to talk about Diamond Dust, but I guess you already mentioned it. Diamond Dust was also a crazy tournament. We got a chance to play there. I went Roy, kind of trolling, even though I did kind of good. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I did kind of good because my Roy is different, but I should have just gone Aegis. But again, pass is the pass. And I guess we run out of time here. It's time to wrap it up. But please let us know your social media in case you stream. Please let us know your stream, and of course, what is your next tournament? Please let the fans know where, and when we can watch you next.
Okay, so personally, I will say I'm not like completely sure like what big tournaments I'm gonna be able to make it to. I've been invited to a few, honestly, even a few that have not been announced even, and I it all depends on like school stuff, honestly, because this is my last semester, so wrapping up with exams, I want to give that a priority. And um, fortunately for me, like the school teachers have been really nice to me about like traveling and stuff. They're like, okay, go represent Guatemala, dude. And but for exams, they've been a little bit more strict. So we'll see. I think for now, the only fully confirmed one that I have is Warehouse Wars. I think you're going as well, right?
Yeah, and next week,
Next week, yeah, exactly.
right? Yeah, okay,
So
yes, I'll see you
I'll see
there,
you there for
100%.
sure. But then other than that, we will keep seeing. I honestly am very happy with the placing. I've always known that I've been able to be like a top 20, top 10 player, honestly. and I just want to keep proving that, and obviously like keep proving that Pikachu is insanely broken. So thank you to all of my fans. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to you, Leo, for supporting me, because I
Yeah.
know sometimes rooting for other competitors is hard, but like if you're friends with them, and dude, like I will always support you, of course. You're
Thank
one
you,
of my
bro.
favorite
Same.
players for sure. And just for like the last few things to add, is just like follow me on my social media. Currently I might get into content making. Personally, I wanted to make sure that I close the gap of competition first as a player, rather than getting into content making first. But maybe now I could be a little bit more comfortable doing that for sure. Maybe a
Mm,
few matchup charts, a few tier lists, like content
yeah.
like that people love. And other than that, check my Metafy. I'm always giving coaching. And if any org is watching this, pick me up. I'm looking for a sponsor. I want to
Yep.
do good things, big things in this game for sure.
Yep. I vouch for ShinyMark. You orcs should definitely look out for him. But all right. Thank you so much for watching, goats. Today was a very special day. The Smash Factor 11 winner, one of the biggest goats out there. That was the Goat Show, the Goat Talk Show. Please subscribe, like the video, and comment down below how broken you think Pika is. And see you next time, goats. Peace.